Welcome, everyone, to the final episode of Season 4 of Two NerdyBirds. Didn't intend to make it the final episode, but here we are. It's the end of the year, basically. So I'm your co-host, Jade Princess, and I'm joined for our end of the year review of video games, all things video games, with my co-host, Gigi Wren. Hi, Wren.
Hello. Hey, we're back. It's exciting.
I can't believe we're already here at the end of the year and the end of the season.
I really don't want to talk about how fast this year went, but at the same time, I appreciate the fact that this year went by quickly because, oh my God, that's all I got.
Okay.
It was quite the year, I tell you what, but it's exciting to end it on a good note, which is talking about video games. I feel like I've been in this weird bubble of just work and commitments that it's nice to be able to just sit back and talk about games. I'm so excited.
I'm excited. I feel very similarly. This year has really flown by. I've known that the end of the year is just around the corner. I've known this for at least 6 weeks, and yet now we're just a few weeks away, and probably by the time this episode comes out, we'll probably be like within a week of the end of the year, and it's caught me off guard completely.
So let's record that. Hey guys, there's only 1 week left to the end of the year. How about that? Wait, let me do one just in case we're not able to get this out by the end of the year. Happy New Year, everybody.
We'll get it out. I get a few days off for the end of the year, so we'll get it out.
You just got to prepare for things. That's all.
So in our annual tradition, with as big as the Video Game Awards has become, we every year review the Video Game Awards, and that includes going over the categories and the nominees for each of them and our thoughts on them, what we've played, what we've enjoyed, and what just totally blows us away. And Rhett, if you remember, do you remember last year when we did this, we talked about how Jeff Kiley wanted he actually had a quote where he said, "I want the Video Game Awards to be as big as the Oscars." And you and I said, who gives a shit? Like a lot of there's, because video game in a popular medium has really been around since like the 80s. You have gamers across a really wide age range and experience of games at this time. But in talking to a lot of people we know that are at the younger end of that spectrum, teenagers and early 20-somethings, they don't care about the Oscars unless they're into like the entertainment industry overall. If they think like, oh, I'm going to work in movies or whatever, then they care. But by and large, it is not at all like the same experience as it was for us, and as it still is, to get kind of excited about that Oscar hype. And so I thought that was such a weird goal. But then after this year's awards, I saw a headline that said how Jeff Kiley made the Video Game Awards the Oscars of video games. And I was just like, oh my God, we're really running with this. Like, do we have nothing new to compare it to as like a cultural touchstone?
Nope, because that's what everyone likes, comparing things. And honestly, if you wanted to make like a comparison to anything, I would try and make it as big as the Emmys, because I feel like people are still invested in the Emmys, because I feel like television as a whole is greater than movies at this point, because there's so many fantastic shows out there, and a lot of the fandoms are based off of shows, not necessarily movies. So if I was going to say anything, I'd be like, oh, I want this to be as big as the Emmys, or whatever. But I really don't like those comparisons. It's like, again, as you said, like, why do you have to be as big as the Oscars? Why can't you just be as big as the Game Awards are? Like, it's a completely different niche group of people. Like, you're tapping into a completely different audience. Video Game Awards is not going to replace the Oscars. I mean, I guess people just love comparisons for whatever reason. They like having that benchmark of what makes a great award show. Well, the biggest award show is the Oscars, so that's what we're going to compare everything to. But the Oscars don't have the audience pool that it once did.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's just, I think it's a dangerous comparison to make. I want to be as big as the Oscars. As big as the Oscars when? 1952 or
right.
2000, 22? Like, do you like which one is it?
Yeah, like you got to be really specific on the decade there because you don't want to be as big as the Oscars are now because I feel like people are caring less and less about it. But in the 80s, it was huge. In the 50s, it was like the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've become so saturated now with so many different award shows. Like everybody has to have their own award show. And some of them I totally agree with. Like, I love video game awards. Sure, give them recognition. Give them some nice shiny trophies and statues and whatnot. They deserve it. They do a remarkable job. But do we need as many as we have? Probably not. The same thing with the Golden Globes versus the Emmys versus the daytime Emmys versus the People's
Wait,
Choice
there's
Awards.
2 Emmys?
I think there's the Emmys, and I feel like there used to be like a daytime Emmy award show for like all of the daytime talk shows and all of the soap operas and like all of that stuff. And then you have the People's Choice Awards. And for some reason, the MTV Awards are still around. And then you have the Oscars. And then you have, a bunch of other award shows. And it's just like, it's just become so oversaturated at this point. And it's not like anybody new gets nominated. It's always the same thing. But that's an aside. It's always the same people and the same shows.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes the Video Game Awards interesting is just like how diverse the offerings are within the video game market.
Mm-hmm.
And it does seem like that there is a real effort like every year to increase the coverage of those unique categories. And so while I do have like some award show fatigue, this is the one award show I agree that every year I look forward to the most.
Yeah,
While
for
I
sure.
do look forward to Oscars, it's mostly just to reinforce like, yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah.
or yeah, that was a great actor. But the Video Game Awards is really like, yeah, okay, that's cool, because then we can hotly debate it. People don't hotly debate like Emmys, except us to each other.
It really depends on the category. It really depends on the category for me sometimes, and who I'm debating with, and I get very heated, especially when a show I like finally gets nominated for something. But again, like any award shows, it's always the same. It's always the same show. It's always the same movie. It's always the same actors, even when they might not necessarily deserve it, but they happen to be on a show that's lasted like 10 years and they just keep nominating the same person over and over again. I'm going to add that to our complaint episode that I really feel we should have.
Okay. Well, we'll put that on the agenda for next year. Let's instead celebrate and or complain about video game awards.
Hooray.
For this year. So I want to, there's a lot of categories. Wren and I kind of had a little brief before this to talk about certain things that we either don't care about or don't really engage with. For example, best VR game. I don't follow VR games at
I
all. I
don't.
don't have any of the VR uh, for me to use, so I just don't engage with it. Like I'm vaguely aware of when certain ones like take everyone by storm, like a few years ago, Half-Life Alyx, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, I also can't watch VR streams, which is weird. I get a tremendous amount of like extra layer of motion sickness that I don't get from playing like FPS. So I don't know. So we're not gonna cover every category, but we're gonna I think do our best for them. And I don't know the winner of every category, and Wren doesn't know the winner of every category. So
I sure
bear with us as we go through this. So I wanna we're gonna start little, and then we'll get to the top.
Yep.
And the first one, Wren, did you know that there is a nomination for Best Adaptation, which is celebrating game-inspired projects across entertainment, including TV, movies, comics, and more? So this is video games that get turned into something else.
Yep. That makes sense. There's so much stuff out there now that's based on video games, and I love it. We've come a long
So,
way. We've come a long way since the first Super Mario Brothers movie.
oh my gosh, yes, we have.
We've come a long
What
way.
is before we go into the nominees, what is your favorite adaptation? Period. Doesn't even have to be like of this year. Just what's your favorite adaptation?
You know, it's not a show, but I did really enjoy the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
The new one with Chris Pine?
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to get an Oscar?
Huh.
Let's tie this together. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it yet. It's on my to watch list.
Oh my goodness. It is it's so good. Chris Pine is amazing in that movie. Actually everybody is. Like Michelle Rodriguez is awesome. The actor who comes out in Bridgerton, I'm just going to butcher his name so I'm not even going to try. Such a good paladin, like chef's kiss, so good. But it was just kind of like a really funny movie and very lighthearted and like everything you kind of love about D&D. It was so good, way better than the first D&D movie, which was a very low bar to begin with.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah. That one's the one that you love to hate.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. But this one by far was amazing. That was such a good movie. I gotta watch it again soon, and you gotta watch it at least once.
I
Because
will. I will.
Chris Pine as a bard is such an inspired choice.
Oh,
It's
he's not even like the fighter.
no, he's the bard. He's the bard.
I didn't realize that at all. Okay.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Yeah, he's the bard. And he's a very good bard.
Okay. It's moving up my watch list. So
Yeah, the
so
fighter.
okay, so
Yeah, so
mhm.
the fighter in the movie is Michelle Rodriguez. She's the
Oh,
fighter.
nice. She's so badass.
Yes.
She's so badass.
Yes. So
If I
sorry.
could grow up to be as cool as she is, um I don't even know what I would do with all that coolness. Like I probably would quit my job, travel the world, do illegal fight rings, drink whiskey for breakfast, and like I don't know, slay dragons cuz that's how fucking cool she is.
And drive super fast cars.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I kind of drive fast anyway. But so
Yeah, instead
okay,
of doing
so
75, I do 80. That's how badass I
yeah, that's right. That's
feel.
right.
That's right.
Ren, I regret to inform you that it is not on the nominees list. for this year.
Well, that's a bummer. What did they do? Only shows?
So
Or did
this
they?
year it's there's
Okay.
shows and movies, okay?
Okay.
So this year it's Castlevania, Nocturne, Gran
Okay.
Turismo, The
Sure.
Last of Us,
Okay.
the Super Mario Brothers movie,
Of course.
and Twisted Metal.
Sure. Okay. I feel like,
Which of these do you think is the winner?
oh, it has to be The Last of Us.
Ding 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 ding
Yeah.
ding.
Yes. Like, out of all of them, like Super Mario Brothers movie was awesome. That was such a fun movie. It gave us the song Peaches, which is I can't get out of my head most days. But The Last of Us, and I haven't even really seen it, but you got Pedro Pascal in it, and you got,
That's
you
your
got
boy.
that definitely he's one of my guys, and all of the stuff that I saw online, like just the reactions that people had to the show and about certain episodes in particular that just conjured up so many feelings and emotions. Like, of course, it would win Best Adaptation. So, of course. But I am super bummed that they wouldn't put Dungeons and Dragons in there.
Well,
Like, I mean, I guess I get it. I mean, with that, is that
I guess it's because there's not a direct
right? Right.
D&D game, right? There's a variety of D&D properties.
Right.
And then there are other games that pull from D&D,
Sure.
but there's not a direct one-to-one Dungeons and Dragons, the video game, and Dungeons and Dragons, the movie. Except I'm pretty sure that there is. I don't even know how I didn't make this list at all.
Right?
But
Like I'm thinking about
whatever.
I'm thinking about the Castlevania series. So I did watch the first Castlevania on Netflix, and it was incredible. But what is Nocturne based off of?
I
Just
mean, like, I
curious.
don't think it's a standalone property, but
Right.
Nocturne. It
Nocturne,
says
sorry.
that it is based on Castlevania Rondo of Blood.
Oh. Interesting. Okay.
Which is from 1993. So why can't we get Dungeons and Dragons on this list?
Right? Like, why wasn't it on there?
You know?
I mean, the Super Mario Brothers movie wasn't really, we have the characters from the games, but that's not based off of. I feel like they pulled from different games to make the Super Mario Brothers movie. All of that just to say, super bummed Dungeons and Dragons wasn't nominated. I'm gonna put that on the complaint show.
Okay. Well, let's go on then. Let's go on. Okay. Next would be, I'm gonna save these next two, and we're gonna bump them up towards the top.
Okay.
So then the next one is best multiplayer game.
Oof.
For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform.
Right.
So I know you do a lot more solo games.
I sure do.
Single player games, just for the nature of the reviews and everything and the guides that you write.
Mm-hmm.
And I weirdly over the years have been doing a lot more multiplayer and been missing out on a lot of single player stuff. So we have good overlap here because you fill me in on this on the single player stuff that you go, Jade, you really should play this.
Right.
So for best multiplayer game, what multiplayer game have you played the most this year? Doesn't even have to be a current one. Just what is the one that you've played the most this year? I think I can take a guess of which one you've played the most this year.
Oh, now I got to hear what that guess is. What would your guess
I think it's
be?
Diablo 4.
Yes. Would that be considered multiplayer? It would be, right?
It is technically a multiplayer classification.
It's such a great game. Yes, I poured hours into that, not just because I was writing guides for it, but it's also a fun freaking game. So, yeah, I did a lot with that game. So, yes, that would be the absolute multiplayer game that I've devoted a lot of time to this year.
Are
So,
you still playing Diablo 4?
I haven't had a chance to because I've been taking classes. And so
Okay.
that swallowed up all of my time these past 3 months. So I haven't been able to play much of anything, to be honest. But now that I have some free time, I am probably going to get back into it. I've got some characters that need leveling up, and yeah,
Okay.
I got some characters that need leveling up because I left them. I left them alone at very low levels, and
Oh no.
I know, I feel bad.
They're not safe in the world. Have you
There,
seen it? Have you
it is
seen Sanctuary?
it is a mess. I can't leave my poor mage. Doesn't have hardly any armor. It has like the
Oh, that
worst spells.
sorcerer? You just let them
Yeah.
go. That's fine. Okay, so the best multiplayer game nominees for 2023.
Mm-hmm.
You have played a couple of these actually.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
So the nominees are
Mhm.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder,
Mm.
Street Fighter 6,
Mm.
Party Animals,
Yep.
Diablo 4, and Baldur's Gate 3. Choose your winner. You may guess once, but you must guess correctly.
Oh my god. Oh god, that's a tough one. Cuz I know it's definitely not Diablo 4. So it would
Okay,
be
why do you think it's not Diablo 4?
because
Despite
Blizzard didn't say anything about it.
Okay. And you do write for BlizzWatch. So
I do
yeah.
write for BlizzWatch and we Blizzard Watch, and no one said anything about it. So because if you're Diablo 4, no matter how great you are, you're still up against Super Mario Wonder, and you're up against Baldur's Gate 3. And that is two very tough games to be in this kind of category. So it would be a toss up between Wonder and Baldur's Gate 3. So I would have to go with Baldur's Gate 3.
And correct.
Yes. Got it right. Got it.
You have 2 gold stars now to
Fantastic.
cash in for the grand prize of nothing. So
A hearty pat on the back and a job well done. Thank
correct.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So Baldur's Gate 3 is the winner. I have beef with that one.
Oh.
But I have beef with the multiplayer. I have beef with the way the multiplayer experience feels compared to Larian's last big game, Divinity Original Sin 2. And so that's where my problem is with this being the winner, but I get it. I understand, having talked to a number of people, that the quality that of the experiences that they are having in multiplayer, with their friends or family members really getting into the RP of their characters and really trying to play their characters in the way that they would play D&D.
Right.
I can see why that's nice. My beef is that I can't talk to my other player characters. There's no interaction between us with regards to the world. Whereas in Divinity Original Sin, if you did one of the pre-made characters and you went and talked to your friend playing another pre-made character, is commentary on the world
Oh,
still.
interesting.
You know, like I
Nice.
thought I was really the moment that I was peeved is actually when the game opens. And you are, and everyone's seen this in the trailers, so it's not really a spoiler, but when the game opens and you're on the Mind Flayer ship
Mm-hmm.
and you wake up and your party members wake up and you all get together, no one has shit to say to each other about being on this ship, right? And the only people that have anything to say about it are the recruitable NPCs or just the
Right.
other NPCs. And it's like,
Right.
hell, excuse me, if I was doing this as a paper and pencil campaign and we all fucking woke up on a ship together, the first thing I would do is try to talk to everybody else or kill them, depending on what my character is, right? But in fighting them, there would still be dialogue and discourse. And I was just blown away that coming off of Divinity Original Sin 2 from Larian and the type of quality interactions that you can have with each other as pre-made or as new rolled characters, that everyone wants to talk about, hey, we're on a ship. Hey, we're at Fort Joy, you know? And in this one, it's like, I have been fucking abducted. There's a worm in my eye, and I'm not talking about it. Like,
oh, no, this is just another Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good.
So on the one hand, I can understand why all the hype for it being the best multiplayer game, but on the other hand, I'm like, no.
Right.
This is a solo player game. Excuse you.
Amazing. Yeah. That's very
all right. I'm sorry. I should have saved that for the complaint episode, but
oh, there's gonna be so much beef in the complaint episode.
All right. So I play a lot of sim games.
Yep.
And a lot of strategy games.
Yep. We're going to the Sims and the strategy. Hey Jade, did you know that there's a category for best sim and strategy games?
I did.
So I know you play a lot of sim and strategy games, which I do not, because ain't nobody got time for that much thinking on my end. But what has
I just wing it.
Yeah. It's why I never played Frostpunk. I am pretty
That's a hard
sure,
one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone would die by the first day. I should not be in charge of any decision making. So yeah. So still looks great though, and I'm still gonna play it one of these days. But what has been a good strategy game you've played this year?
This year
or sim game? Either one.
The good strategy game that I played this year, does Marvel's Midnight Suns count? I mean, it came out at the very end of last year, so I think that it didn't actually, I'm not sure that it made it into the award season in time.
Right.
But that one and Lost Eidolons are probably two of my favorite party strategy games that I've been playing a lot of. And I know we talked a lot about Marvel Midnight Suns last year when it came out because I was really, really into it. And I'm still trying to finish up my first run just because I had a lot of other games get in the way. But yeah, so I really like party strategy games. And there's a couple sims that have kind of come across my way this year, like SteamWorld Build that just came out a couple weeks ago that I really enjoy. It's kind of like Anno vibes, but set in SteamWorld. And so I really liked that one. But I don't actually know what was nominated or won this year.
Well, I'll let you know that none of the games you mentioned were nominated this year.
What the heck? It's a sham.
All right. So here are your nominations to think about.
Okay.
Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. City Skylines.
Oh, I actually have been thinking about picking that one up. Sorry.
Nice. That's all right. City Skylines 2. Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, and
Ooh.
Pikmin 4.
Okay. I do love the Fire Emblem series.
Mm-hmm.
It's very strong. I did not play Engage this year because I did a bad thing to my Switch and I bought a Steam Deck. So
Oh, goodness.
yeah, and so I've been trying to consume a lot more of the games from my PC library before I add more to my Switch library.
Yeah.
I would guess City Skyline 2.
Wah, 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 wah.
No!
That's my
Really?
yeah, no, it was Pikmin 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, City Skylines is great. It is not for me. I do
Mm-hmm.
not like being a city planner. That is one thing that I never went to school for, which is weird because I played the shit out of SimCity 2000, or SimCity, whatever, back in the
Right.
day. But City Skylines 2 is like, uh, has like a lot of real world rules,
Yeah,
and I don't
yeah.
like rules.
Yeah, I
So
tried. Yeah, for sure. I tried that. I'm like, I feel like I need a degree to play this game.
that's how I feel. That's how I feel. And so City Skylines 2, I saw it. I was super excited. And then I had to remind myself, I was like, oh, wait, I don't play City Skylines 1. Like, I actually uninstalled that. But I
Amazing.
know that it's quality. So,
Right, right.
okay. So Pikmin 4. I guess I got to put
Yep.
something on the
Pikmin
Switch.
4. Yep. That was the one. All right. And what am I going with next? Oh, I'm just going to go with this one, which is Best Family Game.
Okay.
For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform, which is awesome. Do you play a lot of family games? I feel like a lot of games I
I don't
play,
have a family.
I feel like a lot of games we play could fall under family because they're so gosh darn wholesome.
True. True.
like like a lot of the indie games we play would definitely be like family games. Like Cozy Grove, Stardew
Oh, I love
Valley.
Cozy Grove. I hate Stardew Valley. Have you heard of Coral Island?
I have. Have I? Yes. I think you told me about it, didn't you? Yeah, you're
Yeah,
always
that one's
telling
pretty
me.
good, Wren.
Uh, you're always telling me about all of these awesome games. So yeah, I feel like a lot of those games would definitely fall under family play. Even
Coral
if people
Island,
are
you're supposed
just
to make a family, so.
all right, so we'll see. We'll see how you do on this one. So the nominees were Disney Illusion Island,
I don't know what
Party.
that is.
Well, it's you're on an island and there are illusions and there's Disney characters.
Okay.
Clearly, clearly, it's what the name says, I guess. Um, Party Animals,
Mhm,
Pikmin 4,
mhm.
Sonic Superstars, and Super Mario Wonder.
I mean, Pikmin 4 just took the best sim strategy. So
Right.
do I vote for Pikmin 4 for best family game? It can't be Disney Illusion Island because it's never even come across my radar. And and it's not that it's not for me being anti Disney or anything because I actually played quite a bit of Disney's Dreamlight Valley
Mm-hmm.
while it was still in early access.
Mm-hmm.
So what are my other choices? Super
Par-
Mario or what?
Sonic Superstars, Pikmin 4, or Party Animals.
Super Mario.
Yeah.
That's
Ding,
easy.
ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding. Good
Woohoo!
job. Yeah. That definitely, for sure. That one was a pretty easy one. It's a softball, if you will. Um, all right, what are we looking at next? Is it your
Okay,
turn?
okay.
It's your
So
turn.
yeah. Well, do you do fighting games? I
No.
Oh, well, okay. I just want to comment. I was actually kind of surprised not having played Street Fighter 6.
Mm-hmm.
Not having played a Street Fighter in a really long time. I at some point like switched over to Mortal Kombat and Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
And in the best fighting game for 2023, it is both Mortal Kombat 1, which is like a whole reboot, and
Mm-hmm.
then Street Fighter 6. And Mortal Kombat 1 has been teased to us since like 2020,
Right.
and finally came out this year. And I, again, haven't played Street Fighter 6,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm a Mortal Kombat fangirl. I know more lore than I should, at least of up to a certain point.
Right.
And I'm kind of surprised that Mortal Kombat 1 did not win.
Hmm.
So now I feel like I should at least look at Street Fighter 6 cuz that is the winner for the best fighting
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, you should. I mean, I don't normally play fighting games, but I have played fighting games. You know, I've played my Mortal Kombat and all of that good stuff. I'm a button masher though, and I refuse to learn moves, which is annoying to some. Uh, but I've played Street Fighter. I've played Mortal Kombat. What was the other? What was the other?
I like the statement that you just refuse to learn the moves.
Yes.
That it's not that it's like, oh, I forget, or it's the combos or challenges. You're just like, no, I flat out won't do it.
I will just high punch whoever I need to, just continuously. And if I press two buttons at the same time, it does something different. And I'm like, ooh, look at that. And then I start experimenting with my button mashing until victory is, until I win.
So I'm going to tell you, I think you're either a savant and onto something there, or I am a button masher and I don't know it, because I had one time a birthday party that I ended up telling on myself, but I was very inebriated during this birthday party, and we sat down at some point. I don't know who or why, but I walked into the living room and Tekken Tag was on
Nice.
the
Right.
on the TV, and I said, "Oh, I remember this game."
That's
And I sat
amazing.
down, and I all I remember is saying, "I'll win." And then I don't know what happened, and I was informed the next day by either very supportive friends or very honest friends that said I actually played for like the next 45 minutes before I lost a round and like had to give up the
Wow.
controller.
Wow.
But I have no memory of that other than saying, I'm going to play.
That's fantastic.
So that's what you might be on to something here, Wren. I'm not sure
re-
that the combos matter.
They really don't. I remember playing Mortal, maybe it was Street Fighter, the arcade version of it at like a golf and stuff or whatever back in the day. Also I'm dating myself here, and I remember I was playing this kid, and I was roughly the same age as this kid. And this little boy comes at me and he puts his, quarters down because I'm like button mashing, and he thinks he could take me on. And I started button mashing like a mad woman, and I beat him, and he got so mad. And he's like, "You're just mashing buttons." And I'm like, "That's right. Still, that is absolutely correct. This is how I play this game." And he was so mad at me.
Get wrecked, small child.
Get wrecked. Yeah, get wrecked. Get wrecked.
Wow,
kid.
Wren, you're such a bully.
As I said, we were roughly the same age, but at the time, back in the 90s or whatever, girls didn't really play a lot of fighting games. That wasn't necessarily our jam, but I was just playing it for fun. So I'm pretty sure it was Mortal Kombat at the time. Like the very first Mortal Kombat, and I'm just sitting there mashing buttons. And it was like an arcade, so you go and you put your quarters down and you got next. So I'm sorry, dude, that I made you lose your money because you thought you could take me on and my button mashing prowess. Like, I'm sorry. I can't. I don't know what to tell you. Something came over me, and all of a sudden, I was just, Mortal Kombat queen. Sorry, kid. Sorry, my guy.
Maybe we throw down for like a special episode one day, Wren.
Oh my gosh.
Just to go a couple rounds. We'll just see what happens. So
it's on. It's on.
Okay,
Let's play some
deal.
Mortal Kombat 1 because I love Mortal Kombat. So
Deal.
I'll
Find it out. I'll make it happen.
I'll pit my Scorpion against anybody. He's my go-to guy.
Okay. Well, so that's all I'm gonna say about fighting, the fighting genre. Apparently, we had more thoughts than we initially projected. But I think these next two categories, Wren, are they're good ones for you to guess. So the next one is Best RPG.
Mm-hmm.
For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. So I think that's interesting that they add the caveat that it is a comma including massively multiplayer experiences, which is weird because there's an MMO category.
Yeah. Interesting.
So,
all right.
Best RPG.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is on it?
Definitely Baldur's Gate 3 would be on that one.
Okay.
What else would be on Best RPG? I remember voting for these, and I don't remember that one in particular. I would imagine maybe Starfield would fall into
I was going to
that.
say, do you remember this other giant hyped game that came out this year in space?
I do,
okay.
kind of. Yeah, so Starfield, definitely Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm not sure of the rest, to be honest, because a lot of the games that I played fall under action adventure or action games that have RPG elements to them. So it's just a matter of what category are they going to place those games under if those games were nominated. Like I know Jedi Survivor was nominated. It wouldn't necessarily fall under an RPG. It would fall under more of an action game or action adventure game. So in my head, I'm sorting through the games I played. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not solely an RPG game. That's an action adventure game. So
Okay. I'm gonna put you at ease. Lucky for you, I have the list of nominees. Okay. So the list of nominees is thusly Starfield, Sea of Stars,
oh, okay,
Lies of P,
okay,
Final Fantasy 16,
of course,
and Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, well then that's going to Baldur's Gate 3.
Dang, you're salty. But yes, you are correct. It is Baldur's Gate 3. Ding, ding, ding.
Yay! Yeah, I'm not surprised by that, but I will say, Sea of Stars, pretty fun game. I played the demo on the Switch. It's a pretty fun game. Challenging. I got my ass handed to me on the final battle in that demo. And so I have to get back to it because I was really annoyed with my management abilities, because it is very much like an old school Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest game where you have to do a lot of management of player healing, their abilities, all of that stuff. And then like all of the other, the people you're up against have like these timers on them. And then it just stresses you out because you know that once it gets to 0, they're going to do some sort of like major hit on you.
Super mega ulta. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh man, here it comes. Hopefully you guys survive this. But what I do like about Sea of Stars is that when you're knocked out, you're just knocked out, which is nice. And you have a chance to come back after 2 rounds of play. So if you manage to survive long enough for your players to come back, they do come back with a little bit of health, which is really nice. And I kind of like that.
Oh, instead of just one. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless your whole team gets wiped out, then your whole team is wiped out. But at least you have a chance to stay in the game and then get your heals up and all of that stuff and then use your abilities. But overall, it was a really fun game. The demo, if no one has checked out the demo yet, it's a really good demo. I like the area they put you in because it is a lot of, there's puzzles to solve and things like that. But that is also kind of slightly derailing because I feel like Sea of Stars could have really been a really good RPG if Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't in existence right now. So, yeah. So
we got time to talk about Baldur's Gate 3, I'm sure. So let's go on to the best action adventure game. And you play a lot of these.
Right.
And you're right. The line between RPG and action/adventure is what they're called, is a pretty thin line. And so this is for best action/adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. So I think let's go. Let me just do the nominees.
Okay.
For this one, because I think this one, since this is within your wheelhouse, I think you've actually played a number of these. So the nominees are Alan Wake 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4,
nice.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Ooh, what a category.
That's a hot category.
That is goodness. That is a fantastic
This is
category.
the one category that we've covered so far that I've said, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
That is such a stacked category. I love everything about that category. Having said that, I am pretty sure that went to Legend of Zelda. Because of course it would.
So before I tell you the winner, which non-Star Wars one in this category do you hope that it is?
I've heard really good things about Alan Wake 2. That would have been awesome. I have yet to play Alan Wake. Everything I've seen of Alan Wake 2 is just definitely a game I want to play, especially if it's in the same universe as Control, because I love the hell out of Control.
They are loosely connected.
Yeah. So Control was a phenomenal game. So weird, but so good. And any game that is loosely connected to that game has to also be equally phenomenal. So it would have been very cool to see Alan Wake get some love in that particular category. But again, when you're up against the likes of Tears of the Kingdom
and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Like, or any of those games, really. Of course, my heart belongs to Jedi Survivor, but
she says with a Zelda Triforce tattoo on her forearm.
But have you seen my Star Wars collection in my room?
True.
Look, I mean, you don't see him, but I have, and no one else is going to see him, but I have a Cal Kestis right there. Cal Kestis. I also have his lightsaber hilt. Like, I also have his Funko Pop. Like, if I could get his face tattooed on my arm, I probably would, but then that would be a little bit too much because he's an actual person.
Okay, I'm glad we have boundaries. So we're just gonna save this and let's say yes, Wren, you were right. It is Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and let's move on to best action game. Wren, what do you got for me?
It's good to have boundaries. I won't have an actual person's face on my arm, but you never know. All right, so best action game. Have you been playing a lot of action games lately?
I would say not particularly this year, but it is usually a category that I play in.
Got it. Well, let's just go right to the nominees, everybody. We have Armor Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, Dead Island 2.
That's one I wanted to play. Okay.
Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and Remnant 2.
Ooh.
Got a lot of
sequels.
Yeah.
A lot of sequels. I would like to say that it's Remnant 2 or Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush, what a gem of a game. Just came out of nowhere, like no press, just dropped, and it's incredible. I would argue that Hi-Fi Rush actually should be in the action adventure game based on the description, that is combat with traversal and puzzle solving, because Hi-Fi Rush is definitely has those elements.
Right.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I would guess that the winner is probably Armored Core because it's a FromSoft title.
Ding, 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 ding. Good job. Good job.
Nice. And it was so highly anticipated for
Right.
everyone, people who don't like the Souls genre of games from Software. They, every time I talk to them about them, they're like, I really wish that From Software would go back to these mech games that they made like back in the early 2000s. I'm like, I literally have never played a single one of those games. Like, it's From Software is Dark Souls. Like that's From Software for me. And then and that's when everyone's like, well, then you don't know shit if you don't know these Armor Core games. I'm like, all right, whatever. But so I have been very interested in Armor Core 6, but I just haven't made time for it. So I could see why that's the winner, just because of the hype there.
For sure. That's understandable for sure. All right, so that was Best Action Adventure. That's Best Action Game. Is the next one still mine?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move right along to Best Debut Indie Game.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my jam.
That's why I picked it. So
okay, let's go. Let's go.
For the best debut game created by a new independent studio. So
it has to be a new studio made. It has to be a new studio's first title.
Pretty much.
Okay. I got it.
All right. You just want the games. You want to see what they are?
Man, there's so many, Wren. I couldn't even.
All right. So
also for me, it is sometimes hard to know when, because of the quantity of indie games that I consume, as well as read about and or wish list, I'm not always paying attention to when it's a brand new studio, especially because I often follow publishers, and a lot of the key publishers, like powerhouse indie publishers that I follow, I don't always recognize that it's a new developer that's under them. So I wouldn't even be able to hazard a guess. So I'm ready. Let's.
Okay.
Okay.
Viewfinder from Sad Owl Studios.
Okay.
Venba from Visai Games. Pizza Tower from Tour de Pizza. Dredge from Black Salt Games, and Cocoon from Geometric Interactive.
Dredge.
Whap, 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 whap.
Dang!
I know. That would have been my pick too, to be honest. But the winner is Cocoon. Because it's also
I haven't played Cocoon yet.
Yeah. It's also an Annapurna interactive game too. So
okay. So Annapurna is a publisher and a developer, but did Annapurna dev this game? Because then that's not an accurate listing on this. I'm not saying that what our information is wrong. I just think that their inclusion on best debut game by new independent studio is not fair then.
Yeah, I would say they probably published it, and I would imagine they published it and Geometric Interactive developed it. But yeah, so Cocoon. It looks amazing from this one picture I'm looking at. But I really want to play Dredge, so I'm excited to play Dredge because for some reason, fishing games, I guess. I don't like fishing normally.
Fishing games are the thing for this year.
Yeah, not fan of fishing, and I have certain games to thank for that. But for some reason, I like the whole vibe.
Oh, do you mean Stardew Valley?
No, we're definitely not talking about fishing in Stardew.
Which has the worst fishing mechanic.
God, salty. Salty like the ocean that we fish from. Jeebus. Yeah. Jeebus. Yeah, no. But I just like the vibe of Dredge and the way it looks and all of that good stuff. So I'm excited to try it out and see what it's all about. But apparently I should probably also check out Viewfinder, which looks fascinating. And Cocoon.
Oh, that's a clever game. Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Cocoon, I think Cocoon is on my list for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've been slow to go to Cocoon because I played Medium in last year. I did stream Medium for like I think 1 or 2 streams. And Medium has, while these are not the same genre, but they are both puzzle games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they both use a world switching mechanic in that in Medium, there are things that you have to complete when you're in your paranormal vision in order for you to be able to access information in the real time. And so with Cocoon, even though it's this beautiful art style and a completely different story, I felt like, ooh, maybe I need to finish Medium before I go into this, or I don't know. I just didn't feel prepared for Cocoon.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense. But I'm gonna.
So that was best debut indie.
Yep.
Okay. So then best indie, Wren.
Oh no.
Okay. This is debut titles, from titles from debut studios and titles from long-standing studios. Are you able to name and choose the best indie game that you've played this year?
Have I played a lot of indie games this year is the real question. Have I played any indie games this year? I mean, I played Sea of Stars. I did play some Wilder Myth this year, which is such a fun game. I did play
That is a fun one.
I did play Stardew Valley for all those haters out there. And I think that is the extent of it. That's all, because the rest of the time I was playing Diablo 4. I played a lot of that. I played a lot of Jedi Survivor. I was playing some Diablo 2 at the time. So I was playing a lot of those games throughout the year. So, well, look at that. We're both doing standing desks. No one can see it, but that's what we're doing. We're rocking the standing desk life. Which, if you're listening to the podcast on whatever platform you choose, it's probably a good time to stand up and stretch. Stretch a little bit. Get the body moving. Anyway, so I spent a lot of time.
support it.
So I spent a lot of time on those games. But as I said, I played Sea of Stars, I played Wilder Myth, and I was playing some Stardew. And that was it. So
okay.
But I've been keeping up with indie games because I want to, now that I have time, I definitely want to dive into a lot of those indie games that are out there, at least try them to say, okay, I finally got my hands on some of these games. So yeah, hit me with the nominees.
Okay, the nominees are Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, and Viewfinder.
Oh, a lot of debut indie titles.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, I would go for the only one I've played.
You would be right. It is Sea of
Really?
Stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get
I
it.
think you have more gold stars than I do at this point.
Well, that was only because I knew that game and because I played it and it was fun. It's such a fun game and I want to get the full game so I can finish playing that game. But it is such a fun game to play. I like the combat. I like the story that they kind of put you in with the demo. I love the puzzling, the puzzles that you have to solve because you start off in this cave and you have to try and open these portals, but you have to find different colored crystals. And when you combine the crystals together, they create different colored portals to go into. And then you get, you mix red and blue and you get a purple portal. You mix a red and a green and you get like an orange portal. So it's just cool. I thought that was cool. Combat is challenging, which is fine. And as I said, lost horribly at the final boss that I was up against because he kept doing these moves on me. And they were putting me in bubbles and dropping me from the sky. Was not a fan, but super sweet game. So I'm glad that one. That's awesome.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to do games for impact because it's usually indie titles.
Mm-hmm.
And these are also indie titles that also usually cross into like our wholesome games space that we like to stay on top of or play and so for this one, the games for impact is for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. I think the byline is a little loaded for this.
Right.
But I do think that these are very quality games that are included in this category.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just gonna go through the nominees because like I said, there's a lot of indies. It's all indies in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And so the nominees for this one are A Space for the Unbound,
Okay.
Chants of Sennar,
Okay.
Goodbye Volcano High,
Mm-hmm.
Chia, Terra Nil,
Mm-hmm.
and Vemba.
Goodness, guess is as good as
What are
mine on
your
that
thoughts here?
one.
Oh, I've played several of these.
I wish I could. I wish I could say I played any one of those. I just haven't. And though it would be really interesting, to actually dive into the messages that these games are trying to the pro social meaning or messages, because I think that would be a really interesting discussion. So now I feel bad that I haven't even played a single one of these games. So if I was to choose one, which one would I choose?
How could you choose?
How can you
I think it would be very interesting. So Vemba is one that's a game that's about family, and it features an Indian family, and it's about the connection through food, and it's a really beautiful little game.
That's awesome.
Terra Nil is I forgot that Terra Nil came out this year, and it is a sim strategy game that I've played that came out this year. And Terra Nil is it is reverse it's undoing industrialization. So you are each world set is a scenario, and you are cleaning up like pollution and barren lands and restoring the ecosystem of that map. And so it's a really interesting one. Chia, I loved. I'm so sad that I lost my save file for it when I had to get a new CPU. But Chia is a beautiful, I would call it
a adventure game. Chia is a beautiful adventure game that
Mm.
is set in New Caledonia, which is not a place that is really ever featured in games. And it's a young girl in a search to save her father
Mhm.
and her discovery along the way, and it features lore from New Caledonia, and it's very cool game. I think you would really like Chia.
I'm gonna
Goodbye
have to
Volcano
check.
High, I would really like you to play because I really want to play this one.
All
It
right.
is sort of visual novel adventure,
Mm-hmm.
and it is featuring anthropomorphic dinosaurs.
Into it.
And the big thing is that there is impending doom in the form of the big meteor
Right.
that wipes out all of dinosaurs. But all these dinosaurs are of high schooler age,
Mhm.
and it's kind of them navigating the impending apocalypse as teenage dinosaurs and how the
Goodness.
rest of the dinosaur world responds to that.
Well, that's
And
dire.
I mean, all these games are good. Chances Centaur, Space for the I could go on, but I think that's a really interesting category, and
Yeah.
the winner of this one is Chia.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the new very special New Caledonia made game, and it's very clear that there's a lot of love for New Caledonia,
Mhm.
culturally, and just the lore and the people and everything that's contained in it. It's a really special game, and I believe if it's not out on Steam now, it will be on Steam in 2024. It's currently on Epic.
Okay. Got it. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to have to check out all of these games because they all sound very interesting. And yes, I will check out Goodbye Volcano High because nothing like impending doom. It's my
And
favorite.
anthropomorphic dinosaurs,
Yep.
teenage dinosaurs.
Into it. Into it 100%.
What do we have next?
Played a lot of good games with narratives lately.
I feel like this is asking me to have participated in the action/adventure category. But hit me.
All right, your nominees are Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Which again,
I thought Phantom Liberty was a DLC.
I thought so too.
I didn't know it was a standalone. I didn't know DLCs could be nominated for.
Well, it's for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game, so it's not very specific. It's just, did you write a good story? And apparently that one was great enough to be nominated. But that is also a pretty stacked category too. So, which one are you feeling?
Alan Wake.
Ding, 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 ding. Absolutely.
Cool. Having played most of Alan Wake 1,
Yeah.
I feel pretty. I got really close, and then I kind of walked away. I think I moved or something, and so
Right.
I did like a cross country move, so I never
Yeah.
came back to it. But I played most of Alan Wake 1, and like, holy shit, that's a hell of a game.
Yeah, for sure. As I said, I gotta go and play those games because those are right up my alley, I'm sure. And so I guess I'm gonna do that soon. After I go through a couple of indie games and just get back into gaming in general, because I feel like I've just been so removed from everything these last few months that I feel completely out of touch with some of the stuff. Like, I've been keeping up with like titles and like overall public opinion about certain games, but to say that I've played any of them, I have not. I just know what people love and what people absolutely hate. So, all right, let's do it. Let's do most
Okay.
anticipated game of the year. Go.
Most anticipated. This is recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward.
Mm.
That is a heavy responsibility.
Oh my God, it is.
So it doesn't clarify when a game is to come out. It is just most anticipated game announced this year.
Got
So
it.
of all of the announcements that you've been following, what is the most anticipated game for you?
It would have to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Would be my choice because
Are you cheating? Do you
What?
have the winners open?
What? It's because all I've seen is about that game, and I am excited for it because you get Vincent Valentine, you get Sid Highwind, you get a bunch of shenanigans. And
How many times are we going to remake and remaster Final Fantasy VII? I get it's a seminal game for many of us in the Final Fantasy series, but God dang it, can we just get a new, like, I mean, yeah, okay, we had Final Fantasy 16, but holy crap, like, let Final Fantasy 7 at some point just exist as Final Fantasy 7.
Never. I mean, this will probably be the last time we see this kind of remake.
I highly doubt that.
Well, on Final Fantasy 7, what I'm waiting for is remakes of Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 6. So, and also maybe 9 and 10 and perhaps 8.
I can't with you. Final Fantasy VII first came out in 1997. Okay.
That's right.
And since 1997, we have had, okay, one moment. Legacy, related media, merchandise. Okay. We had the Final Fantasy, we've had it's been remastered, I'm certain, at least twice, if not thrice, since it was released in 1997. Because that was what? Yeah, because it's just also been ported to a number of platforms since then, as well. And then we got the Final Fantasy VII remake, right? And Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is announced, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let Final Fantasy die.
Never. Never really ever.
I guess not die, but just at some point, just let it be. It's fine.
Sephiroth says no.
I feel like Final Fantasy is under the same pressure that like older actors are in Hollywood to constantly have plastic surgery and Botox, but be 70 years old and cast to be play like the main character that's like a 27-year-old protagonist that's new PhD graduate in New York City. And it's like, can we just let Meryl Streep just like be dignified?
Right. I understand. I get that, but gosh darn it, it's such a pretty game. Like, and then like the soundtrack is like a full orchestra. Like, it's just so good. And then this Rebirth.
I like Final Fantasy VII. Don't misunderstand me, but I just, come on.
You know what it is? It's the, I guess, as you're like dipping out slightly, and it's just such a, it's just like I am so done. I guess we should do this again. I mean, yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy, they're doing it for the kids, kids who aren't able to get who aren't prepared for the old system. You don't see a lot of the kids these days busting out the PlayStation 1 and playing Final Fantasy 7 on the 4 discs. Even though Rebirth is going to be on 2 discs, but it's very exciting, and it's, full on, voice acting. It's the full orchestra soundtrack. It's pretty, and yeah. it is what it is, and I am so excited for it. So that's my guess to get back into. I don't. I my other most anticipated games. I don't even know if they were nominated, or if they were mentioned or announced this year, but it would definitely be like Dragon Age Dreadwolf. That would definitely be another one for me personally.
Oh no, I think that was announced.
That was
not announced this year. Just the name was revealed. Yeah.
Yeah. I would suspect. What else was announced this year?
Okay, well, I'll just tell you the nominees.
Was Hades 2 announced this year?
Yes.
That's the only other one, because I've been told repeatedly I have to play Hades. So that's the only reason.
Who told you that?
My husband. Constantly.
I don't even rate on that. Ren, that was like my main game for like a solid year.
So awkward. It's so. Well, maybe if you didn't hate on Stardew Valley all the time, I would listen.
You know
to
what?
You more.
That's valid. That's valid. I could see why you would not value my opinion there.
Okay. No, but
fine.
you definitely told me a bunch of times to play Hades. Yes, I will play Hades.
That's fine.
I'll do it.
Put your husband above your co-host. That's fine.
This got real awkward. Oh goodness.
Let me just read the rest of the most anticipated game nominees. Okay. You've already identified the winner, which I didn't realize that Rebirth is not the Rebirth will not be wrapping up the Final Fantasy VII remake that was kicked off with Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Mm-hmm. That there's actually planned to be a trilogy, which I think pisses me off even more. But I don't know why we can't just wrap it up in 2 games, but okay, whatever. It's final.
I mean, I get it. It's a massive game with everything that you're doing. They had the integrate. They are, bringing in a lot of the Crisis Core stuff. So I'm not surprised. And I have a feeling what Rebirth is going to end with. So there's a lot going. Yeah. I think everybody knows what's going to end with. So.
Okay. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the winner.
Hooray!
But the other very notable mentions in this category include Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Interesting. Okay.
Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh.
Tekken 8.
Oh, interesting. That is like a nice mishmash of genres in that category. I should have what was the one that you mentioned? Oh yeah,
Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh my god.
Turn in your Star Wars card.
Don't take it. I was like, wait a minute, they haven't announced another Jedi game yet. Yeah, I forgot about. Why did I forget about Outlaws? I'm such a terrible person. Yeah, I didn't even know there was coming out with the Tekken 8. That's how much I know about fighting games. But yeah, Star Wars Outlaws.
That's fine. So those are our most anticipated, which brings us to the two most followed, anticipated categories, I think, for the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna leave it up to you which one we do last. So we have Player's Voice, which is category is 100% voted on by fans.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Game of the Year.
We should probably end it with Game of the Year. Wrap it up with a nice little bow.
Player's Voice.
Oh goodness.
This category includes a number of these games have been mentioned already. One we didn't mention, but that's because its other category that it overlapped with was Best Ongoing Game.
Oh.
So This one is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom,
Yep.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2,
Mm-hmm.
Genshin Impact,
Interesting.
Cyberpunk 2077: Phantom Liberty,
Mm-hmm.
and Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, goodness.
Which of these do you think is the player's voice?
That is a tough one because I would imagine that would be between Legend of Zelda and Baldur's Gate 3, maybe. So, so how many people own a Switch versus how many people own the other systems plus PC? Oh man, I need a coin to flip on that one. I would probably say, I would probably go with the Legend of Zelda on that one.
It's Baldur's Gate 3.
My coin flipping didn't work, but I knew it's between the two of those. Yep.
That's like a quarter of a star.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take a quarter star. I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Baldur's Gate 3. Jeez.
Drum roll, but we finally made it.
To the game of the year.
Game of the year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields.
Jeez. Jeez. Goodness.
So I'm just going to go through the nominees.
Yep.
Okay.
This is gonna be great. But I do have to say I already know who won this one.
Then you go through the nominees.
Oh, do you not know who won this one? Oh, goodness gracious. All right.
I'm pretty sure I do, but you go through the nominees.
So this is a completely stacked category too. So pretty proud of them and their choices. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom.
So Baldur's Gate 3 won the player's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Where Tears of the Kingdom did not.
Mm-hmm.
So for Game of the Year, probably has to go to Baldur's Gate 3.
That's right.
I get a star! I think I got like 2 the whole time.
But that category, goodness me. Yeah, so Baldur's Gate 3 did win Game of the Year. So good for... I am happy for that. And actually, just in general, I'm super stoked about all of the nominees for Game of the Year because most of them are pretty much single-player games, right? For the most part. I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 has some multiplayer aspects to it, but you could play it by yourself and it's all good. Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Tears of the Kingdom, Wonder, you could play with friends, and Alan Wake 2. So it just makes me so happy just to have some really good quality, like single player games. Because I know for a while, who said that single player games were dead or something like that? Somebody said something dumb like that, but it's exciting. It's exciting to have so many options for single player games, and they're all unique in the stories that they tell. Like Alan Wake 2 and Resident Evil 4 and Baldur's Gate 3, and all of these games are just completely different in their storytelling, and that is super rad to me. That's cool. What do you think?
I mean, there was no way it was not going to walk away with Game of the Year.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
It's been, I think, 2019 is when it first early accessed, and even through the pains that a lot of early access players had about that game.
Yep. We sure
the
did.
hype never stopped.
Right.
The marketing behind it was very real. It was very honest, and it was very exciting. And you know, in contrast to some other games that it released during that time that didn't quite deliver, right? Baldur's Gate 3, for the most part, people have just been nothing but satisfied and more than satisfied. So
Yeah.
for this to be its 1.0 year, I would question all of our estimation abilities if we'd guessed anything other than Baldur's Gate 3.
Right.
Yeah.
We would definitely have to turn in our cards for that if we didn't say it. And I wasn't surprised when it won. I'm like, of course it did. Of course it did. But yeah, I'm happy for it. I have to try and play it again because I fell victim to all of the crashes. So I haven't really been able to put a lot of time into Baldur's Gate 3. So we'll see if any of the patches that have happened recently will help my game not crash as much. Or I'm just going to have to get it for a different system than my PC, which is fine. I'll give them all my money. It's fine.
Well, good luck with that. Of the games that we covered this year, you know, as we wrap up our thoughts for the year, what is a game that we talked about that you most want to play, that you've missed, or that you most recommend?
So I definitely recommend Diablo 4, and I recommend Jedi Survivor, which got 0 love at the old Game Awards, but at least it got nominated for Best Voice Actor, for Best Narrative Performance, I think it's called, and for Best Action Adventure. So I was very proud of it for getting those. But yeah, Diablo 4, that game. What I'm looking for, what I want to play are all those games for Impact games, and also the indies, and also Baldur's Gate 3. I gotta play some Baldur's Gate 3, guys. But yeah, that's kind of my list right now. That is going to take me some time to get.
That is going to take you some time, and good luck trying to squeeze all that in before the 2024 Russia game release starts.
Oh my god, I need everyone to just take a step back. Which I feel like that is something I said last year as well when I was naming off of the games that I wanted to play this year. I was like, everyone needs to just take a step back because I haven't caught up with anything, but oh well. Oh well. I'm getting to it. How about you?
I think for me, I most want to play Alan Wake 2. That one I haven't had the time yet to do. And I probably most recommend Chia. And if you want a little bit more of a kind of exploration game, then I would probably say A Space for the Unbound as well, from the Games for Impact. The best indie game, I too want to play more of Sea of Stars before I make that a firm recommendation. I've had Dave the Diver recommended to me multiple times. Dredge is great, but I cannot say enough wonderful things about Chia. You can transform into a chicken, you know, or
you
a coconut.
Led with that.
I'm sorry, you're right. I should have. You get the ability, super spoiler, but you get the ability to transform into objects and animals and take them over.
Goodness.
So you can be a dog and like dig in the dirt and then like, you know, find the treasure or whatever for that area, and then you like pop out and then you go back to being a girl, and like, or you can be a coconut and like fling yourself around as a coconut, and like Chia is just great.
That is fantastic.
That's my most recommended, and it's my most anticipated replay. So
that's what I want. I just want to be a coconut and just fling myself around. I mean, why now I'm upset at Final Fantasy VII for not giving me the option.
Oh, see?
Oh man, you're absolutely right. I get what you're saying now.
Well, it's been a great year, Ren. I'm glad that we could do this and have another wrap up with each other.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited up to, you suggested that we move to YouTube, and so now not only are we on every podcast, but people can switch over to YouTube if that's where they prefer to listen to their podcasts.
That's right. If you guys want to listen, if you guys just want to pop over to